Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Fox, and today I'm going to be talking about Nike and the legacy of its brand. Originally, Bill Bowerman was a coach at the University of Oregon. He coached track and field, and he would sell shoes out of the back of a VW bus made from Onitsuka Tiger. It was a Japanese shoe company. He would buy these shoes and he would sell them, and he would also give them to his athletes to use. He realized that these shoes were pretty poor quality, and he would try to make modifications to the shoes themselves. He would make traction modifications, and he would use a waffle iron to make a grid for the bottom of the shoe. He found that this was a lot better than the shoes that he was receiving, and so he started developing his own technology and giving it to his athletes. One person that he would give it to was Phil Knight, a runner and another student at the University of Oregon. Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman formed a relationship and became good friends. They decided to form Nike, and they made their shoes, and that's how they ended up forming their brand. Nike was finally founded on May 30th, 1971, and originally it was known as Blue Ribbon Shoes, and Blue Ribbon Shoes was kind of just their basic shoes that they had that they would make modifications to. But once they made their own Nike shoes and started making their brand, they formed Nike, and that's where Nike came from. Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight decided that they needed a brand identification and they needed a logo for their company. So they held a contest, and the winner of the contest was Carolyn Davidson, who designed this logo that we all know as the swoosh today. She was paid only $35 for this logo, but later she was given Nike stock in compensation. Because once Nike became so big, $35 was just barely any compared to the size of Nike, even though $35 accounts to about like $206 today. Once Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight created an identity for their brand, they pushed out into the world, and they were able to get into very big avenues. Shoes were seen in episodes of Seinfeld, worn by Jerry Seinfeld, the star and comedian of the show, and major athletes such as Michael Jordan wore Nike shoes. Michael Jordan had his start in the early 80s, and he had his own brand of shoes, and that developed into the Jordan brand, which was merged with Nike and created many basketball shoes that athletes wear today. Athletes such as Tiger Woods have been sponsored by Nike, so you can see Nike apparel in many athletes throughout the world. Nike has been growing and growing over the past years, and they've become a multi-billion-dollar brand. This graph shows that over the past like 20 years of their lifetime, they've grown into a massive company, and it's been known worldwide and globally. Nike is a pretty well-known brand, and they've pushed into many avenues of sportswear. Not only is Nike just a running brand, originally they were founded basically just for running shoes and running apparel, but now they've pushed out into many sports. They have legal signatures with football teams, basketball teams, and even soccer teams. Nike signed with the NFL a few years back, and so now they make all of their jerseys, and they also signed with the NBA, and will be making their jerseys in 2017. Nike also sponsors international teams, such as soccer teams, and pictured as an athlete known as Messi. He is one of the best soccer players in the world, and his team is sponsored by Nike. Nike is not just a United States brand, it is known worldwide and internationally. And once again, here's Tiger Woods showing just that Nike is pushed into so many different sports, not only track and field, but golf, football, basketball, even tennis. Many sports are sponsored by Nike, and Nike has apparel and gear for even sports such as snowboarding and skateboarding. Having a big brand that Nike has, a multi-billion-dollar brand, they've been faced with much controversy. One of the biggest controversial events was the sweatshops that were in China. Nike outsources their materials and their apparel, and it's made in different countries, and China is one of the biggest manufacturers of their apparel. And the conditions of the workshops were not up to par, and Nike did not directly oversee these workshops or these sites, but they were paying them, and their people were being totally underpaid, and the conditions that they were working in were just very poor. And another controversy that has faced Nike over the years is their controversial look. They always push towards young athletes that are very fit and very young, and this has come with a lot of controversial pushback, and people are saying that like they only go for fit people, and so Nike has kind of had to cover that up or just show that they're really broad horizons. And they've had commercials with people that are a little overweight and are doing exercise, and they've always pushed to show that if you have a body, you are an athlete. This is a famous quote by one of the co-founders, Bill Bowerman. He would always say this because he didn't want his brand to only be towards young, fit people. He wanted it to be for anyone who wanted to get fit or who was going to, say, just start something athletic. And it wasn't just for people that were athletic, he wanted it for anyone. And that's why he kind of started this brand. The brand has formed into its own legacy. It's known worldwide, and basically anyone who has seen any athlete has seen Nike on someone. And most people have either owned something made by Nike in their lifetime, or they've known someone who has worn a Nike brand apparel. Nike is huge and has formed into this massive company. They don't show signs of getting smaller, and they just continue to grow. Thank you for listening to my presentation. This has been the history of Nike.